Alright, what's going on YouTube? It's PhDarien here with another video. I'm going to try and be better about making some sort of content within, on a certain interval basis, at least twice a week. Try and pick certain days of the week to do it so I can at least hold myself accountable to it instead of trying to just guess or find the time. But considering my job and lifestyle, sometimes I just get it whenever I can. But I want to talk about black conservatism. I'm just going to kind of dive right into that real quick. For obvious reasons, like I've said in other videos, I'm black, I am male, but with that, I'm never labeled as a conservative or a liberal outside of anything other than my skin tone. People think I have a liberal ideology or, social structure, and I definitely grew up in that environment. Most of my family to this day, regardless of their religious affiliation or thought process, they still vote left, Democrat, the party that's against everything or for everything they claim to be against at the dinner table or during any other normal, daily living. They'll complain about it and they'll blame the other side. And I'm like, the people that you watch, the people that you support, the people that you vote for are actually the ones giving you the biggest headache. And I don't understand how you can't see it. I'm not going to say I was always on the right or a conservative because I haven't been, and I'm still not all the way on the right. I think if anything, I'm further right than most people who even have an R by their name when they stand up in front of the, the cameras, senators, governors, stuff like that. They lean and they blow wherever the political winds push them. Real conservatives are the ones that aren't saying very much. And I just wanted to talk about that because obviously as a black conservative, I don't understand why I'm supposed to think a certain way. I'm supposed to think dark skin. If I have too much melanin, I'm not allowed to have this viewpoint. I just hit 20 years of service this month in the Navy. I've been flying in these helicopters and breaking my back, kind of like on this picture you see over here and all this kit, all my flight gear. I've been doing that for a long time. I've given my country what they've asked me. I'm very patriotic. So when it comes to conservatism, there's a lot of things that they'll say a conservative is or is not. A conservative is somebody who wants to conserve traditional things of the past. When it comes to the sexual revolutions, conservatives tend to only go for same-sex marriage. Conservatives also, when it comes to reproductive, are more pro-life versus pro-choice. They're anti-abortion. Conservatives are also more to support the military and sometimes actually agree to military invasions on certain nations or groups of people that present a harm, whether a present harm or a planned future harm to the United States and its allies. When it comes to religion, we believe that we have the freedom of religion. We tend to have more of a Judeo-Christian pathway of thinking, I guess you could say. We believe in family, that there should be a father and a mother in the home. Does that mean I live by all of these? Does that mean I've done them all to the T? Absolutely not. Do I believe them? Yes, I do. And that does not mean if you live a life different than mine, if you vote differently than I do, if you think it's okay to murder your baby, if you think it's okay to do any of that junk, that I absolutely hate you. Not true at all. I just don't agree with it, right? And so I feel the difference between a black conservative and a black liberal is black liberals are accepted by society as a whole because the overwhelming majority of black people tend to be liberal-minded and liberal, voters. Whereas the small group of the conservative black voice, the black voice itself is already small enough as it is. What are we, 13%? 11 or 13% of the US population? And in that group, less than 10% of us, I want to say, what is it, 97% from some stuff I read, 97% of blacks vote Democrat. So the 3% of the 11%, you see where I'm going with this? The fractions keep getting narrower and narrower. So it seems like I'm definitely no unicorn, but a black conservative is like seeing a unicorn to some people because they're like, oh my gosh, you're black? Like, I'll go in a gun store. I build guns. You see that little guy right there? I built that. And people will think I have no clue what I'm talking about, and that's fine. Sometimes I just let it go. I'm not a gun tuber. If I become one, it's not because of this video. It's not because I had desire to. I just really like firearms. And like Kalian Noor, he ended up mentioning something about he got into gun safety and guns based on his views on YouTube. Right? I mainly got into firearms because of my job in the military. Now, they didn't teach me to have a love or a passion for them. They just introduced them to me. Here, hold this, point at that paper, squeeze a trigger. Okay, next. That was the extent of my military training. Even though a lot of people think, you know, it's way up here, it was really right around here. I brought my own training because of my conservative viewpoints and values to about right here, right? So I'm definitely not at the top, but I'm not at the bottom either. But when it comes to conservatism, you know, you'll see some stuff come out, you know, unarmed black man shot by the police officer. That pisses me off. I don't care that he's black personally. It's unfortunate that he may be black, right? Because is this true? Because then do I have to watch my back now with police? And then you start to dig into it and you say, oh, so this guy was resisting arrest, but prior to the resisting of the arrest, or possibly, you know, pointing just nothing but his fingers at the police officer. Yes, you're technically unarmed, but you still are presenting something that may warrant you to get shot using deadly force, not complying, things of that nature. There's a young guy I work with now. There's a few of us who look like me in my job. I'll just say that. But one specifically was talking about, you know, when was America ever great? I was like, it was great last week. America was great. Well, it's not overall, you know what I mean? Let's go, Brandon. But America was better a year ago. America was better 4 years ago than it is currently under this, specifically in this administration. And most of us can know that. And if you don't believe that, then you're living under a rock. And that doesn't mean I hate you. It just means, hey, look, I don't agree with a lot of what you're probably going to say. And you don't have to agree with me either. But back in the day, we used to have a point where you could have yours, I could have mine, we could still meet in the middle, and we can have common ground over here. Well, that's no longer a thing. Most of the conservatives I know are hush, hush, quiet, or too afraid to say something. Now, you can tell who your conservative or libertarian friends are, or even your liberal friends. Just look at their social media posts, what they post, what they like, what they retweet, what they will forward, what they will share. It's pretty obvious who believes in what. And there's some people who just don't post anything. When you start seeing people put banners and stuff, let's get vaccinated, let's do this, wearing a mask is to protect us all that junk, you can already kind of tell what, you know, they took the whole bait, fish, everything, you know what I mean? Hook, line, sinker, the damn rod, everything, right? And that's fine if that's what they want to do, but I just don't understand why they think I'm wrong for not wanting to do it. Like if I said, hey, everybody should own an AR-15, and they said, well, I don't want an AR-15, I want an AK-47, I'm not gonna get pissed off. Like, oh, well, you should have it because I have it. Like, you should have it because that's what you want. That's real conservative. You do you. You let me do me. That is somewhat libertarian, but that's it for the most part. Freedom of religion, freedom of speech. If I want to say something and you don't like it, I don't care. Lots of things are said that I don't like. Matter of fact, I'm glad Dave Chappelle said what he did on his special. I've watched all his Netflix specials, and I've laughed at every one of them. Does he say some things that made me cringe? As a Christian man, yes. As a black person, a couple times, yes. But stereotypes that he has said is also very true. I can laugh. I can see the flaws in my own culture or my own race or my own gender, but that doesn't mean I'm going to go out and start protesting and all this other dumb stuff. But, you know, there are Christian conservatives on YouTube that are blowing up. I think one of them is actually just called Black Conservative or Black Conservatism something. You have ABL, Jericho Green, prior service member for the Navy like myself. Brandon Tatum. So, you know what I mean? Let's go Brandon. And maybe even Kalian Noor. I know he's a big gun advocate. Actually, one of my dudes, Coach Greg Adams, he doesn't seem to be a full-blown conservative, but he is to me when it comes to most of his talking points. He has his own views about certain things, whether that be the dating market and stuff like that, because he's in the manosphere and the RP content. Nothing against that at all. As a matter of fact, I still am subscribed to him. I'm subscribed to all these men that I just said. All of them. Jesse Lee Peters, I had his book, From Rage to Responsibility, read it about 12 years ago. Awesome book. Larry Elder, And all of these men have been under attack just for being conservative, not for being male, not for being black, but for being a black male conservative. And you think we're weird, stand by. Because more of us are coming up. And it's not because one person spoke out that the next person's saying, yeah, I'm going to speak up too. It's just happening. I think we're in another revival type thing, great awakening, another spiritual purge. Something's happening in the nation because I can see it. I can sense it. I can feel it. People are tired of being hushed, having their ideas trampled and saying, you're not allowed to think this way. You don't have the right shade of skin to do this exercise or to like this or to vote this way. I can do whatever I want. This is America and I'll do whatever I want. And if you don't like it, you can take it up with the mailman. Have him send your thoughts somewhere else because no one cares anymore. My dog is looking dead right now. But I'm just getting to the point where I want to let people know there's nothing to be ashamed of if you're a black conservative. Yes, you can put yourself out there. I wouldn't say go out there and just start making waves with people without really understanding who it is you're going to be making waves with. But once you put yourself out there and you hang your hat on that, just prepare for the backlash, whether it be from work, family, friends, so-called, and everyone else in the spectrum. I plan on getting out of the military and going into law enforcement. If that's still an option for me to do, I will. People say, why would you want to be a law enforcement officer? Look what they do to black people. That is such a stupid argument for me to not want to do something that was a boyhood dream. Yes, there are bad cops out there. There are worse citizens than there are bad cops. And no one ever talks about that. Why are black men killing each other at record and alarming rates and nobody's talking about it? If I was to be a black cop, do you think that would be easier for the black community or not? Will they be more willing to talk to me or my white officer or Hispanic or Asian American, Latin counterpart, whatever counterpart? If they don't want to tell him what happened, but they'll tell me, that's why I'm there. Now, I haven't even done the first piece of paper to go be a law enforcement officer yet, but the desire is there. The goal is there for me to still want to do that. And like I said, I'm a big firearms enthusiast. I really like to build ARs. I build a lot of ARs for myself, a lot of them. I've melted a lot of them down because I end up jacking up some parts of the lower receiver and stuff like that. When I first got into it, I just melted them down into, like, ingots or something like that, or used them as examples of what not to do when you're milling at a lower. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put a video of me. I just got done doing an AR-10 lower, and yeah, I'll talk about that later. But either way, so still being a law enforcement officer, that's a thing. I don't want this video to get too long, but if you're driving or doing something and you just want to listen, then hey, I guess this is the video for me or for you or for us. And when it comes to that, it pisses me off that someone thinks that I'm not allowed to be a cop because I'm black. I'm not allowed to believe in the Bible because it was written by white men. The Jews in, well, the so-called Jews, we'll call them, right, in Israel aren't the real people. Those are the European ones. They believe in black Hebrew Israelites. Hey, look, there's some, that's a whole nother topic, but for me to just go off the Bible, which I do believe the Bible. I believe what it says. It doesn't justify a lot of what people say it justifies. It just annotates it as a historical fact to a group of people. It is a thing, that people will say, black men aren't just, men that are dark. I mean, as a matter of fact, just my skin pigment, I don't know what you would call that, some sort of caramel, brown, right? There are people I've seen from South America darker than me, and I'm not talking about just Brazilians. People from Central America. There are people from India and Pakistan that are actually darker than me, but their hair texture is not from the African descent, that 4-3 and 4C curl pattern stuff, junk. But I have height. I have a certain physical, prowess. I haven't used that word in a while. The way, my stature, my muscular build, all that stuff, the extra calf muscle I have. One of my friends likes to joke about it and said I have an extra calf muscle. I could use it right now because my knees are shot to help me do something. But all these things piss me off because it makes me feel like I'm not allowed to have my own viewpoint. And of course I am, and I do. Some people it pisses off, other people it makes them happy. You're always going to piss somebody off, and you're always going to make someone else smile. As a matter of fact, the reason I didn't start this channel, I've always had a YouTube account, but the reason I'm actually starting to promote content is because I've seen the people I've watched when they first came up, and they started off making just a video just like this. Does that mean I'm trying to get big? Absolutely not. Could I? Maybe. Is this my goal? Absolutely not. I just want to put myself out there. I'm 38 years old. I've been in the Navy for 20 years. And prior to that, everything I lived from birth to pretty much my first few years in the military was all liberal pushing on me the whole time. And it didn't take me long after being in the military to realize you should hold people accountable for their own actions and not punish us groupthink. Your whole unit this, your whole group or division this. It's like, hey, how about that person? Now you can reward and you can punish as a collective group, and I understand that. There's times and places for that. But when one person messes up, that person should be held accountable, because it'll let the rest of us know we're not being punished by this clown. They're getting handled, and that keeps me on my grind. That keeps my work ethic up, because if I'm just constantly getting in trouble or looked at negatively because of the actions of someone else, it's not going to make me want to do it anymore. I love America. I was born in America. Not only was I born here and I love it, God allowed me in this time of history to be born in America in 1983 on August 11th. I share the same birth date with a few celebrities, one of them same year. Matter of fact, like as a kid, my favorite wrestler, Hulk Hogan, born August 11th. Joe Rogan, born August 11th. Donovan Sharp, August 11th. My son's favorite hero, Chris Hemsworth, what the heck, Thor from Marvel. He was born August 11th, 1983. So as a matter of fact, him and I are the exact same day, same age. We were born on the exact same day. So there are a lot of people in my age, in my birthday, that I actually like outside of the world, like wrestling, comedy, podcasts, acting. And I'm like, man, we all have the same birthday. Isn't that something? It makes me think, like, sure enough, I'll go ahead and add to the 8/11 day and, put myself out there. But I want to let people know, do not be afraid to be conservative. Do not be afraid to be black. If you like guns, you like guns. If you want to go to the range, go to the range. But once again, I do get judged, and there's nothing wrong with that. Judge not that ye be not judged. Matthew chapter 7. You know what I mean? I understand that. But you should judge righteously. I'm not going to sit here and think when I walk into a gun store that those people may think I'm up to no good, especially if they have reason to believe I could be up to no good. That does happen. It's unfortunate that it happens that way, but there have been times where people who look like me have violated the trust of these store clerks, these store owners, and all that stuff, and so they do treat people who look like me a certain way. I'm man enough and old enough to have experienced it and to understand why some people may have a protocol when they see me walk in their store. I don't instantly think, oh, that's racist. Profiling people is the job of the police. I profile everybody. When I'm walking outside with my dog, and if you're walking with a dog and you don't have a leash on your dog, I'm looking at you and your dog crazy, because if something goes down, I'm not going to be like, oh, well, I didn't know. No, I observe things. And we should always be on, observing things. Situational awareness is key in life, and no one talks about it. So yeah, nothing wrong with being black, nothing wrong with being conservative. Stand your ground, do what makes you happy, forget everybody else who doesn't care for it. Let's go, Brandon. PhDarien, I'm out. Peace.